Hey, hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to our session. So, we have successfully completed 3 days of our Python for AI program, right? And today is our fourth day where we are going to understand a new topic, right? So, in the previous session, we have understood the concept of fundamental category data types, right? So, we started understanding Python, then history of Python, followed by features, and then we understood the installation and the fundamental concepts like variables. And in data types there are in total 6 categories of data types, and these 6 categories of data types in total they have 14 data types in Python. And as part of the previous session we have understood the fundamental category data types. Am I right? Yes. So we'll quickly recap what we have covered in the previous session. Then we'll start the day. Right. So what is the purpose of fundamental category data types, friends? What is the purpose of fundamental category data types? And I want everyone to respond here. Don't sit idle. Yes. The purpose of fundamental category data types is to store a single value. Right? In order to store a single value, we use fundamental category data types. What are the different fundamental category data types we have in Python? We have int, float, bool, and complex. Yes, good. It's bool. Okay, so the purpose of fundamental category data types is to store a single value, and the different types of fundamental category data types are int, float, bool, and complex. What is the purpose of int data type? What is the purpose of int data type? Answers is what I'm expecting. Int data type helps us to store any numbers, whatever might be the number, we can store using int data type, and that number should not have any decimals. No decimal values are accepted. So that means non-decimal numbers are stored using int data type. Good, good. Then, apart from storing non-decimal numbers, int data type also helps us to store, binary values, nothing but binary numbers, octal numbers, hexadecimal numbers. Right? Yes. Then, next to int, we also discussed float data type. What is the purpose of float data type? What is the purpose of float data type in Python? Good going, good going. Float data type helps us to store numbers with decimal values. If the number have decimal values, floating points, we can store those values using float data type. Right. Then, what is the purpose of bool data type? In Python, what is the purpose of bool data type? Bool data type helps us to store Boolean values, nothing but true or false. If I want to store either true or false, I have to use bool data type. And internally, what is the value for true, friends, in Python? What are the values for true and false? True takes 1 and false takes 0. Good. And if you are unable to, memorize the values, I'll just give a tip. Okay. So alphabetically among T and F, what comes first? Obviously F, then T. In the same way, between 0 and 1, what is the smallest value? 0, then 1. So in this way, at least you can remember the values. False takes 0, true takes 1. Right. Then finally, what is the purpose of complex data type? What is the purpose of complex data type? Complex data type helps us to store complex numbers which are in the form of a plus bj or a minus bj. Okay, if I want to store any complex number, I am supposed to use complex data type. And how can I access the real part of the complex number? Using real attribute. And how can I access the imaginary part of the complex number? Using imag. So these are the attributes which helps us to retrieve, to get real and imaginary parts of the complex number. Right? So we are also done with the hands-on, and I assume that the task that was given as part of yesterday's session was completed. Right? So today, let us go and start a new topic. It is the next type under data types. Okay, under data types, let us go and understand the next type. It is sequence category data types. Okay, so what is the next type that we have? You see here, next to fundamental category data types, we have sequence category data types. Okay, so let us understand what is the purpose of sequence category data types. Then under sequence category data types, we have again 4 data types: str, bytes, byte array, and range. Okay. Yes. So friends, if you are joining for the first time, ensure that you subscribe to our channel, to get all the notifications. We are going to plan upcoming programs, very good programs we are going to plan in future. In order to get all the notifications, ensure that you subscribe to our channel as well. Right. Let us get started, guys. So as part of this session, we'll be understanding sequence category data types, the purpose of using sequence category data types, then what are the types that we have in sequence category data types, as well as we'll cover the first type of sequence category data types. It is str. Okay, so this is the agenda for the day, and I want everyone to focus. Right. Sequence category data types. The purpose of using sequence category data types is to store sequence of values if I want to store a sequence of values, okay, if I have many values, I take all alphabets, okay, A till Z. What is the count? The count is 26. Yes. So if I want to store this sequence of values, I am supposed to use a sequence category data type. And there are four data types under sequence category data types. They are str, bytes, byte array, and range. So what is str? What is the purpose of using str? Then what is bytes? What is the purpose of using bytes, byte array, and range? We'll understand. Okay? Yes. Now let us understand the first type of sequence category data types. It is str. So str is one of a predefined class like same, int, float, then bool and complex. Okay, so what is a class? We'll understand, no worries, right? So like how we have the predefined classes that we have discussed as part of our previous session. In the same way, str is also one of a predefined class and it is again treated as a sequence data type. The purpose of str data type is to store sequence of characters. So if I want to store sequence of characters, okay, if there are multiple characters, multiple values, I can store all of them using str. Yes, it is possible. And there are two types of string data. Okay, in general, we can store two types of string data. One is single line string and the other one is multi-line string. Okay, you can keep your data in single line or multi-line. So what is this single line string data and multi-line string data? We'll understand. So ensure that single line string data should always be enclosed with either single quotations or double quotations. Okay, when you want to keep your data within a single line, okay, so this data has to be encoded in only single quotations or double quotations. Then, in the same way, for multi-line string data, if I want to store the data in multiple lines, ensure that we store, in order to store in multiple lines, we use triple single or triple double. So triple single quotations or triple double quotations will be used to store multi-line string data. Okay, so it might be triple single or triple double. Any one of these will be accepted. Okay, yes. Now let us go and work on some examples to get a clear-cut information regarding single line string data and multi-line string data. So for that, I'll go back to Spider and I assume that everyone have installed Spider, right? Yes. I'll scroll down. So everything has been covered as part of the previous session. And let us start from here. Right. So we understood what is the purpose of sequence category data types. Yes. The purpose of sequence category data types is to store sequence of values, and under sequence category data types, the first data type is str. Okay, so using str data type, I can store two different types of data, that is single line string data and the other one is multi-line string data. Okay, so here we have the syntax for single line string data. Okay, so whenever you want to keep your string data, the str data, within a single line, ensure that you use only double quotations or single quotations. Any one of these two will work. Okay, here we have a few examples. So what I'm trying to do, I took a data, okay, where I have many characters. So I'm trying to store a word called Python. I want to store Python in my memory. Okay, so can I use int, float, bool, or complex? None of these data types can be used, friends, because here the word Python has a sequence of characters, right? It is nothing but there are a sequence of characters. In total, there are 6 characters. So if I want to store a sequence of characters, str data type will be used. Okay. Since again I want to keep it in single line, I'm going to use double quotations. Okay. So this Python will be stored in a variable object called s. So let me go and execute it. Focus on the variable explorer as well as console, friends. You see in the variable explorer, the type is str. The name of the variable is s and it is holding a value Python. Okay, let me open it. See, it is Python and the type that is used is str. But if you see the size is 6, it is not 1. It is 6. How come 6? Because each and every character will take size 1. So in total, I have 6 characters in word Python. Okay, since there are sequence of characters, obviously a sequence category data type has to be used and it is str. The purpose of str is to store sequence of characters. I hope it's making sense. Now let me, print s along with its type. So this will print Python as well as what will be the type? The type is str, right? So it will print both Python and str. Good. Now, will line number 532 execute or not? What am I trying to do? I'm going to store a sequence of characters. Okay. And what are the characters that we have? So it's a name. Okay. So I want to store Abdul Kalam in object S. So what kind of quotation marks am I using? I'm using single quotations. Is it allowed? Yes. If I want to store my data in a single line, okay, I can just go and keep it in either double quotations or single quotations. Both are accepted. Right. So when I execute again, the value in the S gets changed. So instead of Python, we'll have Abdul Kalam. What will be the size? So before I execute, the question raises, what will be the size? Akhil, the size will be, 10 because in Abdul, I have 5 characters and in Kalam, I have 5 characters. So 5 plus 5 will be 10. No, friends. Even space will take one size space. Okay. Whatever the space that we have between the words will take size 1. So that means 5 plus 1 plus 5. So it is 11. It is not 10, it will be 11. Pay attention. So 5 represents the characters that we have in the word Abdul. The 1 is representing space. Kalam, in Kalam, in the word Kalam, again I have 5 characters. So 5 plus 1 plus 5, it is 11. So when I execute line number 532, here I should see 11 and under the value, it should be Abdul Kalam. Okay. Right. Let me go and execute. Is it 11? Yes. It is not 10. It will be 11. Okay. Then the value also got changed. Let me also print the string along with its type. So it will be Abdul Kalam and str. str is a predefined class. Yes. I see class also. But what is class and all we'll discuss. Okay. No worries. We'll go slow and steady. Right. Then what happens if I execute line number 535? First of all, will line 535 execute? Will line 535 execute or not? Yes, it will execute. But what will be the value? What will be the value? The value is P. It is just P. Okay. So let me execute line number 535. It is a string and the size is 1 because I just had only one character. Right? Within the quotation marks, I had only one character. So when I print string, when I print S along with its type, I should get P with str. Good, good. Then what if I execute line number 538? Will line 538 execute? Yes, obviously it has to execute because I had a sequence of characters and I want to keep it in a single line string and I'm using single quotations which is accepted, right? So when I execute line number 538, S will hold a value that is Python is an object oriented programming language and it will accordingly calculate the size. It will count the size. So it is 21. How come 21? 6 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 4. When you add all these numbers, you'll get 21. Okay. So for better understanding, folks who did not understand, I'll keep the numbers. It is 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. So 6 plus 1, 7, 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 1, 10, 10 plus 2, 12, 12 plus 1, 13, 13 plus 3, 16, 16 plus 1, 17, 17 plus 4, 21. Clear? Yes. Now I'll also print it and I'll get the type. So this is my data. This is my value which is present inside S and the type is str. So far we have just understood single line string data. Now let us also go and focus on multi-line string data. Okay, so what does multi-line string data means? In simple. So if you want to keep the string, whatever the sequence of characters that we have, in multiple lines. So in this way, ensure that you use triple double quotations or triple single quotations. You'll use triple double quotations or triple single quotations is what we use for multi-line string data. So let us go and look at some examples. Here is the first example. I got the address of our father of Python, Guido van Rossum. Okay, so this is the address where our scientist lives. Okay, just kidding. So what am I trying to do here? I kept the string in multiple lines. The data that I have, I kept it in multiple lines. And when you try to use single quotations or double quotations to store this sequence of values, it will throw error. So Obviously, you are supposed to use triple single or triple double quotations. Making sense? So this is the address, and whenever you want to execute, you are supposed to execute all the lines together. It's not one line. Okay, it started in line number 556 and till 559 it is the same. So ensure that you select all the lines, then you execute. See, it's done. What is the name of our variable? It's address1, addr1. What is the size? 90. So I cannot sit and count. Anyhow, Python is going to get the length or size of our value, and this is our value, friends. See. So on day one, I have discussed, right, why spider. So this is the advantage of using spider. You see here how clear it is. We can have a quick review on our data. I can go through my data. Okay, as we go on, I'll still explain the advantages of spider. Okay, so no other IDE will give you such kind of initial features, friends. Okay, so that is the reason I'm asking you to use spider if you are a beginner, especially. Right, then let us print this address along with the type. So I'll get the address followed by str. Making sense? Yes. In the same way, I have one more address. Okay. So as part of this address, I'm trying to use single quotations. That is triple single quotations is what I'm going to use. Okay. So again, ensure that you select all the lines together and execute. So it is the name of the variable is addr2 address 2. The size of the data is 66 and this is our size. I mean, this is our variable, our value. Okay, now this value I'll also print. I'll print it along with its type. Making sense? Why am I using time again print function and type function is, at the initial stage, these functions should become handy. Okay, you should be very familiar with our print function and type function. Right? Yes. Now, what am I doing in line number 570? Could you please explain me what am I exactly doing in line number 570? Come on guys, what am I doing in line number 570? I'm going to store Python sequence of characters, but in just single line. So obviously this will be a single line data, right? But what kind of quotations am I using? I'm using triple double quotations. Will it execute? Will it execute or not? Think and let me know in the chat. Yes. So I'm using triple single quotations, I mean triple double quotations for a single line data. But what we have discussed for single line data, either double quotations or single quotations is enough. But what am I trying to do? I'm using triple double quotations for a single line string data. Will it allow us to execute? Yes, it will allow us to execute. Okay, and the data type str will be used to store the value Python. See, let me print it to the console. Making sense? Then in the next example, what am I doing here? I am storing alphabet A, okay, where I have placed A in triple single quotations. But anyhow, this is a single line string data. Okay. So I need not use triple single quotations, right? But anyhow, if I use triple single quotations, still it executes. See. So what did we interpret from this is, that means triple single quotations or triple double quotations can be used for both single line data or multi-line data. Okay, so I hope it is making sense. So, if you are using triple double quotations or triple single quotations, these quotation marks can be used for both single line data as well as multi-line data, friends. Okay, especially if you are storing single line data, go and use, if you are storing a multi-line data, only triple single or triple double is allowed. You cannot store it using single quotations or double quotations. No, it does not accept. So that makes the difference. Right. So now I hope it is clear. We have understood very good examples on str data, str data type, right? Now let us focus on some operations that we can do on str data, friends. Okay. The first operation is called indexing. The first operation is called indexing. What do you mean by indexing? Indexing is nothing but, extracting or obtaining a single value or character from your original data. Okay, if you have data like this, if you have a str data, okay, and if you want to only extract a single character, if I want to extract only key, that is called indexing. Okay, in short, indexing is nothing but extracting a single value, single character from your original data. And the syntax is whatever the object in which our str data has been stored. Okay, so to that you are supposed to keep square braces inside which you are supposed to pass index number. What is this index number? For this, I have a well-structured image. Probably I have to go back and show it here. When string data type, str data type will be used, okay, in order to store a sequence of characters, how it is going to manage the memory. Okay, so here we have a detailed explanation. Okay, if I want to store a word Python, okay, if I want to store Python in an object S, okay, so you see here, this indexing, using indexing, I'm able to store each and every character. So this is how it gets stored. Indexing is nothing but it will represent a number for each and every character. So this indexing is of generally two types, positive indexing and negative indexing. When do we have positive indexing and when we'll have negative indexing is, if you take positive indexing, especially if you're going through your data from left to right, in this fashion, from left to right. So that is where you see positive indexing. The numbers for your index values will be in positive. And by default, it starts with 0. Okay, as part of positive indexing, the default value for the index value, the starting value will be 0. Then coming to negative indexing, where we start from right to left. Okay, where we start from right to left. Here we get negative values for our index values, and it starts by default from -1. It is not 0, it will start from -1. So this is the proper understanding of indexing, and depending on the number, okay. So say if I want to obtain only O, okay, either I can obtain O using number 4, yes, or if not -2. In the same way, if I want to extract only Y, so this is for O. In the same way, if I want to get Y, what are the numbers? So the positive number that we have is 1. The positive index number that we have is 1. And the negative index number that we have is -5. I hope it's making sense. Yes. Now I'll go back. We'll discuss n number of examples. Okay, there are multiple examples. Let us start understanding these examples, friends. Right. So I'm going to store Python in S. Okay. So str data type will be used. Right. So I'm going to store Python in S. Done. If you see, the size is 6 and the data type is used is str. Now, how can I access the individual characters from this Python? Is using indexing. Indexing syntax is clearly written over here. The syntax is str object followed by square braces. Within the square brace, pass the index number. So where do we have the str object? The object that we have, the data got stored in S. So S becomes our str object. Right? So S of 3. What does 3 represent, friends? So initially you should give the values for each and every character. Python. So if I go with left to right direction, I'll get positive indexing values. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if I go in the reverse direction? I'll get negative values, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Now tell me, what will be the output for line number 589? S of every time, whenever you are trying to do indexing, you are supposed to use only square braces, friends. It is not regular braces. No. Square braces is what we use. Okay. So 589 S of 3. So that means what is the character that we have at index position 3? It is H. So this should return us H. Tell me the output for line number 590. Tell me the output for 590. 590 will return as O. Good. Because S of -2. That means from right to left. This index values can be either positive or negative. Okay. Don't assume that index cannot be negative. When you have negative values for your index number, it means we are going in the reverse direction from right to left direction. Okay. In right to left direction, you will get negative values for your index. Right? In the same way, S of -4 will return us S of -4. So that means this will be T. S of 2 will return S of T is also, 2 is also T. That's what we have discussed. For every character in the str data type, you'll have two index numbers, one positive number, one negative number. Now tell me what will be the output for line number 593. 593 and 594. What will be the output? S of 12 and S of minus 12. 593 will be an error. Okay, good. What error? What error it might be? No, it will not be a null value. No. So when you are trying to perform indexing, and if the index number that we have given is out of the range, assume it if it is invalid, you'll get index error. Now probably you should understand what is this index error. So whatever the value that you pass as index, if it is not valid, okay, you'll get index error. So for line number 593 and 594, do we have, first of all, index value of 12 and minus 12 for our data? No. Then how can we get the output for S of 12 and S of minus 12? We cannot get any output. It will return an index error. It will return index error. So let us go and execute all these lines in a single go, friends. 589 should return as H. Did we get H? Yes. 590 should return as 0. I mean O. Then 591 should return T. Yes. 592 should also return T. Good. 593 should return as index error. Here it is clearly written. String index out of range. So whatever the index that you are trying to pass is out of range. And the same error should also return for line number 594. Okay, so this is how indexing is performed, on str data, right? And the second operation that we have on str data is slicing. This is again one of the important concepts of Python, friends. Like how indexing is performed, in the same way, slicing is also performed, but there is a difference between indexing and slicing. Okay, so what makes the difference between indexing and slicing, we'll understand. What is slicing, first of all? Slicing is process of, obtaining a range of characters. What is indexing? Indexing is nothing but obtaining one character or one value from your str data. Okay, but slicing is obtaining a range of characters. A range of values is what you get when you perform slicing. It's nothing but you are going to get substrings. From your main str data, you'll get substrings. And here we have multiple syntaxes. For slicing, there are multiple syntaxes, friends. Each and every syntax that are allowed in Python, we'll understand with examples. Focus. The first syntax is given in this way. Might be indexing or slicing, we use only square braces. Okay, if it is indexing or slicing, whatever might be the operation, remember this, we use only square braces for performing these operations. So the first syntax is str object followed by, square braces. Within square brace, you pass begin index colon end index. Okay, we pass begin index colon end index. This is what we pass. That's it. Right? So what is this begin index and end index? We'll understand. Whenever you are using this syntax, this syntax will return as range of characters between begin index and end index, end index -1. It will not provide the last character, but till the next value of the last character only till it is going to perform with a provided condition. There is a condition over here. What is the condition? The begin index should always be less than end index. Whatever the begin index that we are going to come up with should be less than end index. If not, you'll not get any output. So probably I'm able to grab some concept, but if I work out on any examples, I can understand more, right? So here we have many examples. No worries. We'll start working on examples. I'm taking the same data. Okay, it's Python. And I'll keep Python very clear here. Now let us also give the index numbers. Okay, as I'm going in left to right direction, I'll get positive numbers for my index values. And if I go in the right to left direction, I'll get negative numbers for my index values. Okay, so here we have kept all the values, index values for each and every character of Python. Now let us start slicing. What does the syntax say? The object followed by begin index colon end index. Only if you follow the syntax, the interpreter can understand. Okay, this is a slicing operation. Okay, so what does the first example say? 1:4. So that means the begin index is 1. What is the end index? 4. Okay, so starting from 1, this particular syntax will return us the characters from begin index to end index -1. So begin index is 1, end index is 4, but is it going to provide the characters till end index? No, only till end index -1, that is 3. So from 1, then next digit is 2. What is the next index? 3. So only these 3 will be written as output. I hope it's making sense. So what will be the output for line number 606, friends? It should be the value that we have at index 1 followed by index 2 and index 3. So that means the output should be YTH. Now it's your turn. I want the answer for line number 607. 607, what will be the output? Okay. What are the index values? First of all, we'll get first. It starts with 2. Then the next digit will be 3. Then next index we get is 4. Can we also have 5? No. What does the rule say? We will have only till end index -1. That should be the last value. So 5 minus 1 will be 4. So that means the next output that we'll have is THO. Good, good. Friends, if you are focusing on whatever, the discussions that we are having, whatever that I'm explaining here, if you are focusing, if you are able to grab, you can work out on all the examples, right? Tell me what will be the next output for line number 608. For line number 608, what will be the output? It should start with 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I have also 6? No, I cannot have 6 because, the last index -1. So 6 minus 1 is 5. So this values, whatever the characters that we have at these index values will only be returned. So that means Python will be written as it is. Am I right? Yes. What will be the output for line number 609? Starting index is 4, then 5. Can I also have 6? No. So that means only 4 and 5.
6.
Okay. So that means I can have only O and N. Good. What will be the output for the next example, friends? Line number 610. Good, good. This is what I am waiting for. 610 will result as an error. Why? What is the condition? The condition is begin index should always be less than end index. But in our case, our begin index is not less than end index. It is greater than end index. So that is the reason it will not give us any kind of output. Okay, will not have any output. No output. What will be the output for line number 611? Minus 6 colon minus 4. Can we have negative values for our index? Yes. You see here, if I go in the reverse direction, I can have negative values for the index numbers. I want the answer for line number 611. So it should start with minus 6, then minus 5. Can I also have minus 4? No. Because what the end index is minus 4. So minus 4 minus 1 is minus 5. So only we'll have these index values of minus 6 and minus 5. That means P, Y should be the output. Good. In the same way, tell me the output for line number 612. Six one two minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2. I cannot have minus 1. I should stop at minus 2 itself. So that means it is Y, T, H, O. Y, T, H, O. Good, good. In the same way, tell me the output for line number 613, friends. Six one three. See, along with the answer, if you keep the line number, I can understand your answers. Okay, if you just keep the answer, I may not understand properly. Right? 613 will return no output. Why? Because the condition is not satisfying. The begin index is minus 1. And what about the end index? It is minus 4. Out of minus 1 and minus 4, which is the greatest number? It is minus 1. Since we are working on the negative numbers, so obviously the less number will take the highest number. It is not minus 4. So as we are violating the condition, so this is also, it does not return output. Now at a glance, let us check all our outputs. I'll start from line number 606. Our output should be YTH. Good. Next one, THO. Line number 608. Python. 609. On. ON. 610. This should not result as any output. See, It did not result any output here. Then 611, it is PY. 612, it is YTHO. And 613, again, no output. Is it clear? Very simple, friends. Indexing is nothing but extracting only a single character. Slicing is extracting a range of characters. Okay, if we are able to obtain multiple characters, a range of characters, it is slicing. But for slicing, there are 5 different types of syntaxes. So far, we just understood only one syntax. Making sense? Now let us go and understand the next syntax under slicing. The next syntax is the same str object followed by begin index colon. So that means there is no end index. There is no end index. This is very simple for us. Alright. So what does the syntax say is, this particular syntax will give us the range of characters from begin index up to the last character. So that means from the begin index till the last character will be written as output. Wherever you have in this fashion, if you are going to keep your syntax in this fashion, your output will be in the same way. I'm taking the same example. I'll take Python again. Now let us keep the index numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go from left to right, and if I go from reverse direction, that is right to left, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay, so let us start our examples. What will be the output for line number 620? What did we keep? What is the syntax is? S of 2 colon. So that means your begin index is 2. From 2, it should return all the characters till the end. So for this, our output should be T, H, O, N. Good, good. Don't sit idle. Okay, everyone has to type. Understand the syntax, immediately focus and give the output. For line number 621, what will be the output? (621), where are we starting? I'm starting at, what is my begin index? 4. So 0, O and N will be our output. Good. 622. Yes. Good friends. Keep going, keep going. What will be the output for line number 622? Where am I starting? The begin index is 3. So that means I have to start at H, then O and N. Good. Keep going. 623. Oh, I'm starting at the starting position itself. 0. That means I'll get entire word as it is. Python will be written as it is because I'm starting at 0th index. Making sense? Then -6. What happens if I use -6? What if I use -6? So that means here for line number 624, Again, I have to get the same output because I'm starting here and as it is what I'll get. Then what will be the output for line number 625? 625 minus 4 is where I'm starting. So if I start here, if I go through this till the last, I should get THON. Minus 5, I'll get YTHON. And minus 2 will return me ON. Making sense? So these are the outputs for each and every line. Okay, each and every example. I just use the same syntax. If you are able to understand the syntax and the output, you can work out on any example, friends. Just be clear on the concept. Okay, so these classes, these sessions are meant for your conceptual. Okay, these build your conceptual skills. But when you do hands-on, only then you learn Python. Okay, whatever you are responding, you are 100% right. Parallelly, you should also do hands-on. Right, let me start executing all these lines. So it is THON, then ON, then HON, and Python. Again, I should get Python, then THON, YTHON, and ON. Clear? Good. So we are also clear on syntax too. Now, let us understand the next syntax. We have understood syntax 1 as well as syntax 2. The next syntax is, we are not passing any begin index. I'm just passing only end index. Okay, so what does this syntax is, so we don't have any begin index, and when you try to use this syntax, by default, the begin index takes 0. It takes 0. And this syntax will return from begin index till end index minus 1. Okay, so by default, the begin index will take 0 as the value. The value will be 0. So I hope it's clear. I'm taking the same example, Python. I'll keep the numbers. Index numbers is what I have here. And let us start understanding the examples, friends. Right. So what is the first example says? Is it matching the syntax? Yes. What will be the output for line number 635? We'll understand. Colon 4. So that means end index takes 4. So as we know that this syntax should return, from begin index, that is 0 till end index minus 1. So 4 minus 1 will be 3. That means 0, 1, 2, 3 should be the output. So for line number 635, it should be PYTH. What will be the output for line number 636? 636. So instead of 4, I have reduced 1. So obviously, if I go, in an efficient manner, that means I should get PYT as output. Good going. What will be the output for line number 637? What will be the output if I take, line number 637? What is my end value? It is -4. The end index is -4. So the end index, if I reduce it by -1, I should get -5. So I have to start from 0, which is nothing but, if I start here as it is, so I should get Py. That's it. Good, good, good. Then what about the next line? Line number 638. I'll get only P. Am I right? Will I get only P? Good. What happens if I go with line number 639? So it is nothing but 0:6. So that means entire Python will be written as it is. What will be the output for line number 640? 640. It is Python. It's not Python. It is N will be removed. You cannot expect N. So you'll get PYTHO. Okay. So let us execute all of them together. PYTH, PYT, PY, then P, then Python and Python. Clear? Yes. So that means you can either pass begin index alone, or you can either pass only end index. What does the fourth syntax say? Fourth syntax is very simple. You don't pass anything. Okay. In the fourth syntax, will not pass begin index, will not pass end index. Then how does PVM understand what are the values for begin index and end index? Is when you use syntax 4, okay, so by default, the initial index will be given as begin index, okay, and end index will take length of the string data, str data -1 as an index. So whatever is your length of your str data type, that -1 will be the value for our end index. Okay, so here you see I'm taking the same example Python. Okay, I'm taking Python where the values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this becomes -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay, so here we have both positive and negative index values. What are the values that am I passing for begin and end index? I'm not passing anything. Okay, so that means by default the initial index will be taken as 0. And what about the end index? End index takes length of our data -1. What is our length? It is 6. So 6 minus 1 is 5. So that is nothing but 0. Then all the values will be written. So that means you'll get Python as it is. Yes. So let me execute. So here we have the output. So we have understood what is indexing and what is slicing, right? Under slicing, there are in total 5 syntaxes, but the fifth syntax is big. Okay, so it takes lot of time, and we also have many examples under fifth syntax. So probably in the next session, we'll understand the syntax 5 friends. And as part of today's session, the task will be, come up with the examples for str data. Okay, so where you have to practice n number of examples for indexing concept and slicing concept, where you go and use all the different syntaxes, whatever we have discussed as part of this session. Okay, so whatever we have discussed, all the 4 syntaxes has to be used to build your examples. So that makes your task. And we have also provided you the feedback link. Okay, so before you leave, if you feel the session went well, hit on the like button, as well as do share across your connections, ask your friends to join, ask them to learn Python. Python is one of the primary skill that interviewers are focusing on. Okay, so friends, don't ignore these sessions, join on time, and also, give some kind of support for us. So before you leave, hit on the like button as well as complete the feedback link. Give your valuable feedback. Right. So that's all for the day. Again, we'll meet in the next session. Until then, take care. Have a great day. Signing off. Bye.